Hi everyone, this is Karen from KarenTash.com. Welcome to Tash Talk. Talk about stuff. Today I wanted to talk to you about Robert Rauschenberg. So Robert Rauschenberg was an artist who basically started out in the 50s, and he was an abstract artist. And I fell in love with the work of Jasper, who was a friend of his, and they both sort of started out at the same time. And Robert Rauschenberg has these great stories about how his studio apartment, or his studio rather, I don't know whether he was living there too, smelled like garbage because he would go out, on garbage day and just like find things in people's garbage and then use those things in his artwork. And then like Jasper Johns used beeswax when he was doing his encaustic paintings, which is what I've been working on lately, is doing encaustic paintings with collage. And the beeswax smells really good. And I have to tell you that when I do my own artwork, it's incredibly intoxicating because it sort of utilizes all of your senses. So it's got this beautiful texture, and then it smells really good, and then the colors are so vibrant. So it's like a win-win. Anyways, so there was this retrospective of Robert Rauschenberg's work in 1997 at the Guggenheim, I believe. And so my sister and my younger sister and I, went to New York, and we stayed with her friend from high school who was living there at the time. And we went to the Guggenheim to see this show. And I didn't buy the book that went with the show because, I want to say like 10 years previous, or maybe it was less than 10, but when my sister was 13 years old and I was 25, I had to bring her to New York because I was having an interview because I was thinking about getting my master's from Parsons. And my mother wouldn't let me go by myself. Isn't that so stupid? But I had to bring my 13-year-old sister with me. So we took the train, and we stayed at the Marriott, and it was at the time $150 a night, which was hugely expensive for me. And I don't think my parents didn't pay. They just made me take her. Anyways, it was fine. But we went to see the Andy Warhol exhibit, and so I ended up purchasing the book that went with the exhibit then, and then I had to carry it all around New York City as we were walking around. And it was so heavy, and it got so tiring to carry it. And it was a paperback, but it was quite heavy. And I actually have it way over there. I was looking all over for it, but it's in a stack of books with a plant on top of it. So I never look at it. It's just I had to have it. Okay. So anyways, cut to years ago when I was just really struggling financially. Story of my life, right? So I applied for grant money from Robert Rauschenberg's foundation. It was called I think it's still around. It's called Changes Inc. And it was out of Florida. So I applied for this money. It was like $1,000, and I said, I'll pay it forward someday, and blah 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 blah. Okay, so anyways, then I'm just in dire straits and whatnot, and then I'm watching the news, which I don't recommend. I tried to do a video the other day about telling people not to watch the news. I didn't think I looked good in that video, so I just deleted it. Anyways, don't watch the news. So I'm watching the news, and there was a hurricane, and it was right at Captiva Island where Robert Rauschenberg lived. or where this foundation was too. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sure my application is like in the ocean right now. So a month goes by, and I get a letter saying sorry, delayed because of the hurricane, and they gave me the $1,000, and so I like always sort of cherished, Robert Rauschenberg. So eventually I decided, I really want to get that book from that show that he had at the Guggenheim in 1997. And so I started, Googling it, and it was out of print. And the only ones that I could find were like, thousands of dollars that people were trying to like say, well, it's out of print, so it's super highly valuable and all this kind of stuff. So then I sort of gave up on the idea of having the book. But I just really wanted it. I wanted it because another thing that happened was I wasn't watching the news very often anymore. But one day I had it on, and I think it was it Tom Brokaw? No, I don't know. Was it Tom Brokaw? It was someone that I was watching on the news, and it was a Tuesday, and then he said that Robert Rauschenberg had passed away. I was like, wow, how did I see that? You know what I mean? It's like when you see something, and I cried. I started crying. I felt so sad because, I've always thought I would meet him. Oh, and P.S. Oh, no, that was somebody else. Sorry. One time, this lady, Mrs. Kennedy, who was the art teacher that I worked with when I first started working, and then she retired after 35 years, but she had been there like, I want to say this, early 70s, and she was she had worked there a long time. Anyway, she told me that when she was younger, she went to, I think she was either in college or she was applying for college or she was doing something, and she went into this diner and she sees this man, and he looked very familiar, and then she realized that he was the man that was on the cover of her art news magazine that she was reading, and it was Roy Lichtenstein. So she had met him. And then I think she told me that her daughter was in New York City and was invited to a party, and Robert Rauschenberg was there. And I was just like, why is this happening to other people and not me? So anyways, I love them. And I mean, Jasper Johns is still alive. It'd be lovely if I could meet him. And, this is how you cross yourself in the Orthodox Church. Anyways, I let it all go. I let it go. I let it go. I let it go. And then one day, I Googled Robert Rauschenberg retrospective, and I found it. I don't remember how much I paid, but I think it was in the $150 range. And now I have this big, giant coffee table book that I rarely look at, but when I do look at it, I remember that I was there. I was there, and I saw the show. And if you were there, you would remember this too. There was a bathtub in the middle of the room, one of the rooms, because it was the Guggenheim, but then there were some side rooms. I think it was, wasn't it? What was the Guggenheim? I think it was. I'm quite sure it was. Anyways, I feel like I'm tearing up here. My nose is running. Sorry. And there was a water in this bathtub. And I was like, it's water. But part of me was like, no, it's resin, So you're not supposed to touch stuff that's in a museum, but I put my finger in it, and it was water. It's water in a bathtub, and that was his artwork. And then he also had these huge pieces of cardboard that he had painted on, and it said courtesy of the artist. So these were not pieces that he had sold to anyone. And I was like totally in love with him from that moment because the truth of the matter is that people who are artists make art, and they make it and they make it and they make it and they make it, and they don't make it for any other reason. Like, they're not like making it as a business person who's going to be like, okay, now I'm going to sell it here, or now I'm going to get representation there. You make art because you're an artist, and you just you need to make it. So you're probably thinking like, well, why is she making videos about talking about stuff and not making art? And the reason is because I was making art. I have a ton of art that I just made. And it's all like on my coffee table. You'll see if you want to look up the short that I just put up not too long ago, where I have all these paintings. They look like soldiers, and they're just like waiting for a show. And so you don't paint every single day, but when you do, you know, you're quite productive, prolific even. So, that there's that. So anyways, that brings me back to making videos. I'm not making videos because I want any kind of a result. If a result happens, it's absolutely lovely. And maybe it will happen, but I don't have to have it an instant manifestation over that, because having this book on my lap, by the way, it's so heavy. And so I made the right decision back in 1997 not to buy the book when I was there, because I wasn't going to make that same mistake where I'm carrying a book around New York City all day long, super heavy, and no. And like 1997 was such a long time ago. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are watching this video, if you're watching at all, who were not alive in 1997 because you weren't born yet. Like, crazy, right? Crazy. Anyways, if you don't know who Robert Rauschenberg is, look him up. Look him up. He's amazing. Okay. That's Tash Talk for today. Subscribe if you like if you like, and I'll see you in the next one. Which will be for me in a few minutes because I'm making videos like cray. Anyways, Tash Talk. See you soon.